What's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of the Legion of Raw. You know what, man? So people have been talking about my guns compared to Bobby Lashley and how similar.
Holy mackerel, bro. Do that again. Throw that up there again. Let me see that. Holy crap. Can I say crap, Chris? I can say crap.
You can say crap.
Holy
absolutely.
crap, bro.
Yes, indeed, man. You know, it takes a lot of work to get guns like these, man.
It does, my God.
Lots of guns.
Bro.
Lots of work. So we have a new WWE champion. So I got something for Lashley as well. I had it first. So we're gonna do one of these things today with
throw the arm up there with the belt. Throw the arm up there with the belt. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm gonna give you a Frank Barone. Hold on.
All right.
There you go. You got a Frank Barone. Very nice.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, we're gonna have some fun tonight, man. We got a new WWE champion. After some people said 16, the Miz said 17, 16, 17, whatever it is. We crap on Raw, we roast Raw every week, man. But I will say it's a good moment, man, to see a brand new WWE champion, like an actual brand new champion. Now, we talked about riding with Russo, how we don't want this to be a transitional title reign, which it most likely will be. But Bobby Lashley will be WWE champion for 5 weeks, and so so we might as well enjoy every bit of it while we can, and because come 5 weeks from now, you might as well kiss it goodbye.
Well, you know what, Chris, I want to say this about that. Chris. I wouldn't be 100% sure about that. Bro, if Lashley goes the next 5 weeks very, very convincing like he looked tonight, I wouldn't go 100% with that, bro. Bro, listen, man, you hear a lot about the creative and how things work, and you hear a lot about Vince McMahon like literally changing his mind right before matches the day of. Bro, I got to tell you something, man. If you see 5 weeks of Bobby Lashley this strong, man, I would not say it's 100% lock.
I'll counter that and say I'll say it's a 99.999% lock that Drew will win, because as I'll say it from a counter standpoint. I think the stronger we see Lashley, the more that means that they're going to make Drew the star. So, and I don't want to see Lashley as a transitional champ, but I have a really, really strong feeling that that's what we're going to see. I think what we discussed before, I think they should stretch this out. I think the way that they look, the way that they've been making Lashley look over the past few weeks, they have to stretch this out. I don't think it's going to happen, but until then, I think they're only going to have him a 5 week reign, and that's it. But I'll enjoy the 5 weeks. As DJ Wysock says, Dr. Chris is more believable than the Miz, brother. I would.
Where do you find the time? You see patience all day. You do wrestling all night. When do you have the time to hit the gym, bro?
Good question. I work out 5 to 6 days a week. In between that, actually, I work out after.
God bless you, bro.
Work. Yeah.
God bless you, Dr. Chris.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Well, let's talk about some Raw, man. Other than the great Lashley moment, the rest of Raw was trash as normal to me. I did not enjoy it. But I did enjoy. I enjoyed the vintage Russo stretch. I like that. Listen, it kind of gave us that type of buy-in. I like that.
Chris, I'm gonna listen. I want to say this off the bat. Bro, we have lowered the bar is so low.
Yes.
And the bar has been so lowered that even if something is mediocre, people think it's great because everything else is so bad. So I want to say that first. The bar is so lowered, bro, that is now great.
Correct.
Okay. But I will say this. Exactly what you said, Chris. They made a big effort tonight to really make that main event match mean something.
Yeah.
They did play it out throughout the entire show, bro. A lot of holes and a lot of things I want to discuss that bothered me, but I am going to put them over. They did tell the story for 3 hours. They made that last match feel important. And, bro, like I told you, there's a simple formula to this show, and they threw that formula out the window. Today was as close as they came to that formula in maybe the last 5 years.
Yeah, I agree. At least 5 years.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think that I totally agree, and I've said this plenty of times that we've lowered the bar so much that what would be a C average during the Attitude Era is like an A average now as far as our perception towards it. And so I'm with you there. And I think, like I agree too, that there are some holes that we'll talk about meticulously because that's what we get paid to do, is to talk about Raw.
Wait a minute, you get paid to do this? I don't get.
Oh, wait a minute. We used to get paid.
Okay, all right. Also, because I was going to say, wait a minute, Chris is getting paid. I'm not.
There's something we need to know.
Maybe you're threatening people. I don't know, Chris. I mean, I can't threaten too many people with this. He's a
I got you.
Look
At
that. Holy crap, bro.
Oh man, I love it. But we that's what we get. That's what we volunteer to do every week, is to talk about Raw. Volunteer to do every week to talk about Raw, and so that's what we'll do. And if there's holes to poke, that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to start doing right now. So we start with Bobby Lashley doing an in-ring promo. He gets interrupted by Miz and Morrison, then the Hurt Business, and then Sheamus. Just a lot of applying mini segments in one, and just
it's a lot of wasted time. They're eating up 3 hours. Listen, Chris, this is what I don't like. Chris, this was a 16-minute promo where nothing was said. I mean, that's what this was. And like, I mean, I wrote my times down. It's like, you guys said nothing. Like, this
I love that you do that, by the way.
Yeah, this was just 16 minutes of eating time. And Chris, let's talk about that for a second. Because if you don't want to eat time on the show, eating time is a waste of time. Bro, you surely don't want to do it at the top of the show. Maybe somewhere in the middle will eat time. But I mean, bro, you don't want people sitting there out of the gate saying, okay, bro, get on with this. Like, we get it. Okay. You don't want that at the beginning of the show. Bro, if it's a 16-minute promo and something's happening, that's one thing. But I mean, for Miz to come out the old, heel thing. Oh, bro, we'll be the three amigos. Come on, bro. 16 minutes. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Move it along. That's what I was saying, Chris. Move this along. Let's go.
That's right. That's right. And I think it's pretty cool that you actually time the segments, because that's the element of, SK Wrestling, Legion of Raw, that no one else has in their post shows.
Well, you want me to go one step further?
Yeah, do it.
By the time we had the promo and the Sheamus McIntyre match, bro, that's 45 minutes into the show.
Wow.
And bro, I want to say this, Chris. I gotta say this. I'm a huge a Drew mark. I like Drew. Drew has been on my show. I had a great conversation with Drew. Drew's brother is a huge Vince Russo mark, Drew told me. So I like everything about Drew. But, bro, I got to be honest, Chris, that's what you get paid for. I'm making nothing over here, but I still feel I got to be honest. Chris, listen, man, for as much as this thing has been built up, bro, they're throwing girly man punches. Like really, guys? I was like, guys, like, really? Like, we're going to throw rabid punches, bro? Like, come on. Yeah. Bro, that always drove me crazy in wrestling when stuff just looks blatantly fake. Because, Chris, these are two big guys.
Yeah.
Bro, they can make contact without hurting each other. You know what I'm saying? Bro, they can hit each other and not hurt each other. Bro, they were throwing these rabid punches during that pull apart before we went to commercial. I'm like, guys, what are you doing?
Yeah.
No.
And I agree with you, Vince. Drew was, other than, I can't think of anyone else as far as WWE, as far as my personal favorite right now, as far as male star, than Drew McIntyre.
Ali.
But Ali. Oh, I forgot. How can I forget? How can I forget? Of course. Mustafa Ali. Of course.
Big Ali win tonight.
I am an Ali mark. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But it's like, I am 100% behind Drew McIntyre. I know him personally. He's a really nice guy.
I am too.
He's been on my show before, and just super, super nice. I'm pulling for Drew McIntyre as a person to succeed, and I'm so happy that he's on the top as a competitor. But I mean, and it has nothing to do with his athleticism, because he's good. He's fun to watch in the ring, very hard hitting. But the way that the WWE is booking him right now is so lackluster that it's really hard for anyone, even someone like myself, who knows Drew, who supports him, who backs him up, someone like you, who's been on your show, you're pulling for him. We're both Drew marks. But it's like, it's even hard for the marks to stay marks, because the WWE booking is so bad that the marks are drifting away. So
Chris,
that's bad.
And I got to tell you, based on what you've just said, and bro, I don't have any insight into this or anything, but I know human nature. I'm not a psychologist like you, Chris, but I know a little bit about human nature.
Psychologist with guns, by the way.
With guns. Bro, I got to tell you, I think some of the wind may have been taken out of Drew's sails. I really believe that, bro. That's why I am not 100% sure about this WrestleMania gimmick. Mm-hmm. But Chris, I got to tell you something. Back in the Asylum days, okay, there was a show. We had a TNA show, and I was supposed to jump Jeff Jarrett. Okay, blindside him, spear him. He never saw me coming. So I remember Jeff said to me, you know, when I had him down, he said to me, Vince, okay, I'm gonna teach you how to throw a punch. He goes, first of all, bro, like, come way up. You got to come way up. And then, bro, when Jeff was down, like, I'm punching him here. Mm-hmm. And like Jeff was, bro, punch me as hard as you can. You're not going to hurt me here. Mm-hmm. Like, so bro, now with coming way up and literally hitting him, it looked like I was hitting. Bro, you've got two monsters, and they're doing this, and I'm like, bro, like, what are you guys? What are you doing?
Cat fight.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, man. I just, for them to be monsters, for it to be look like a cat fight like that, it's embarrassing for two people their stature, for sure.
Yeah. I really hate too, Chris. We talk about this all the time. So, Chris, we're 45 minutes in. Bro, Drew's going over. Like, right. Why are you giving us 20 minutes when we know the dude's going over. This isn't a coin toss. Sheamus isn't winning. Yep. We know Drew's going over. Mm-hmm. And, bro, they got to drag this thing out like 20 minutes, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I was looking at that. I was looking at the match. I was like, okay, this is a hard-hitting match. But I was looking at the match. I was like, see, this is exactly what's wrong with the WWE right now. That they're insulting our intelligence every single week, every single segment, as if someone's supposed to be compelled that we're going to see a different finish than Drew McIntyre winning the match.
But Chris, it's not even that. It's the lack of creativity. They're always trying to eat up time. Yeah. That's what, so they make things sometimes, bro, twice as long as they should be.
Yeah.
These guys should not be that creatively bankrupt. If you're that creatively bankrupt and bringing new people, you should not be that bankrupt that everything just gets drawn out to a point of torture.
Yeah. I agree. Great comments tonight, everybody, too. And the super chat option is open on YouTube. So if you want your comment to really stand out, feel free to give via super chat for this week and following weeks as well. So I agree. I think it's one of those things that we have to. There's no buy-in. I was looking at that match and I said, okay, so Sheamus versus Drew. Okay, now what? Like, what does this mean? Like, what Drew beats Sheamus? Are they going to embrace? Are they looking at each other? Are they going to be tag teams again? Do they kiss and make up? Like, where are we go? Like this, we're like Vince. We're 5 weeks before WrestleMania. Things should be set in stone, and we shouldn't be having this much mystery behind the card as a whole. Like right now, we're getting Lashley winning the title, which is cool. But somehow 5 weeks in, within next week, which will be 4 weeks till Mania, we're starting Drew versus Lashley. Like we're starting the program of Drew and Lashley. It feels super rushed if we're starting a program less than a month before the show. I mean, to me, when I look at that stuff, I'm like, this is WrestleMania. I mean, like, you know how it is. I've interviewed 250 people at least, most of them who's been in WWE, and they would tell me that typically around Survivor Series at least is when the WrestleMania card is set, is at least penciled in, you know, and it goes from basically backwards. You start there, you start at WrestleMania and you go backwards, starting from WrestleMania. I mean, starting from Survivor Series. And so from November to April or March, that's 6 month time, 6 or so month time, 5 or 6 months. That's when you build the storylines. And it feels like there's some development there. But 4 weeks before starting the WWE Championship feud, that's terrible to me.
Chris, can I give I'm going to give a cheap plug here, but I'm telling you, this is very important based on your point. Okay. Chris, on my Patreon, patreon.com/
Russo TWC.
Russo TWC. I do a show, a nitty gritty dirt show with Billy Body. Okay. Now, Chris, let me tell everybody how they work. This is why you get paid the big bucks, because I tell everybody how it works when you're working in the WWE, okay? Chris, when I was a writer of the show, for months in advance, Chris, months in advance, I would have to give them creative direction because they would have to get the posters and all the marketing material months in advance, 4 months, 5 months in advance, okay? Now, bro, here's the funny thing. Billy is always so spot on with the news because he talks to those people. It's not wrestlers with an agenda and I'm going to bury this guy and I'm going to no, this is marketing people. Billy had a chalkboard on this past week's show, bro, and he had from October to now of all the changes that they made in the WWE card in the last 6 months. And when you follow them, bro, you can see, like, for instance, do you remember on SmackDown before the Royal Rumble when Daniel Bryan went out and cut the promo about how it's a lifelong dream to win the Rumble? Bro, that's because he was supposed to win the Rumble and face Drew at WrestleMania. They would have never had a babyface cut that promo, but that's why they did it. But, bro, it's funny because Billy had changes every month. Bro, the only match that has not changed from October till now, the only match they had on the board was Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. That's the only match they've had set in stone. If you guys go back and watch this Patreon, it will blow your mind, and a lot of things will make sense as to why they did this and why they switched this and why they did that. It's unbelievable, Chris. It never used to be that way, bro.
Yeah, I agree. And I got some friends in the in sources area too, as far as insiders. I heard Lacey and Charlotte, but Lacey's pregnant. I heard Drew and Roman was a thought.
That's right. Yep.
For a second, somehow putting it together because they wanted Drew to have his comeuppance again from his Survivor Series loss. I heard
that's why. So everybody knows. Remember when Drew went to SmackDown? Remember, that's why. That was the plan during that time, Chris. Exactly what you're saying.
Yep. Our Keith Lee was another one that was talked about to win the Royal Rumble, but now Vince has cooled off on him, and so it's just like Daniel Bryan. I've heard Daniel Bryan, but Vince cooled off on that idea too. So it's just been so many different things everywhere.
Unreal, bro. It's crazy, man.
And how are we supposed to buy into that as
you
fans
can't
and spectators?
You can't buy into it. You can't.
Yeah. It feels contrived. Like everything just feels so rushed nowadays.
Yeah.
Because I don't see any consistency. And like you said, Walking Dead, right? So that was something that you watched from the very beginning and been binging ever since because of the episodic feel of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
From knowing nothing about it to being hooked to it and wanting to watch more and more and more. That's what episodic television is about. For basically in your situation, your scenario, it would be the same as when did The Walking Dead start? What year did it start?
Oh my God, 10 years ago, bro.
Okay,
almost.
So that would be the same as like cutting 5 years of The Walking Dead, starting 5 years ago, and not really missing the other 5 years because there wasn't no continuity there. Continuity there, and everything is just recycled over and over and over again. So if you cut 5 years, you might as well. I mean, it's the same as watching it from the very beginning because everything's recycled.
Chris, there was a great article. I did a whole show about this today too on Patreon. Somebody sent me, bro. There was a great article in Variety. And it basically said the networks are doing away with overnight ratings and are thinking of doing away with ratings altogether because they're basically saying like the ratings of the first run shows are so low that it's almost like embarrassing. Like they said, bro, like the Rock show drew a 1.0, which is low, but in today's standards, it's huge.
Yep.
But they're actually talking about getting rid of ratings because they don't mean anything anymore, and they're almost embarrassing. And, bro, then they start talking about, streaming services, and people are binge watching.
Yep.
And, bro, that's all fine and well. But here's the problem. Bro, nobody's binge watching wrestling.
No.
Nobody's saying, okay, bro, I'm going to watch 4 episodes and 12 hours of Raw. Nobody is binge watching wrestling. Now, you're binge watching regular shows.
Yep.
Bro, no one's binge watching wrestling. No. That's why a lot of people say with wrestling, oh, it's a different time. They watch TV differently. Yeah, bro, people watch TV differently. Nobody's binge watching wrestling. No. And you know what happens, Chris? Here's the problem with it too. You read the dirt sheet reports. The show's so bad, there's no reason to watch it.
Yes. And case in point, there's literally people who watch this show, The Legion of Raw, who don't even watch Raw.
I don't think Chris, I don't think a single brand member watches wrestling. Like, no. I really, really don't. And Chris, what would be the end of the argument? Like with all these fans that the AEW fans, the WWE, they use as an excuse, ratings don't matter, and blah 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 blah. Bro, what would be the end of the conversation? The end of the conversations would be, bro, is if there wasn't COVID and house shows were still happening, the attendance of those house shows would show you how much of the audience they've lost. Yeah. The problem is, bro, we can't measure it, in terms of house shows because there's no house shows anymore. Bro, when there's house shows again in wrestling, you are going to see firsthand how many people have stopped watching wrestling because they're not going to the events.
Yep. I agree. Even before COVID, there was plenty of articles talk about low house show or live event is what they're called now, live event attendance.
Yep.
That's been something that was long before COVID. So COVID is an excuse. I mean, WWE can't use COVID as an excuse. House show attendance has been low for quite some time.
Yep.
So no excuses there. Nia Jax defeating Naomi. I get it. I mean, they're trying to make Nia and Shayna, a top heel tag team. They've got NXT title match coming up on Wednesday, and then Naomi and Lana is the number one contenders from a WWE main brand standpoint. But I mean, when I was watching that, man, it's just, for me, I guess it's just a personal thing, but just watching Naomi just lose a match on Raw, I just cannot stand it.
Bro, she needs to be involved in that Roman Reigns storyline. It should be a soap opera with the whole family, with all kinds of. That's what. How they don't see that, I have no idea. Bro, she would be a breakout star on her own. Yeah. How they're missing that boat, bro, I have no idea, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea, especially with Jay, away. You know what I mean? Or Jimmy away. Jay's still there, but Jimmy, her husband, is away, and I think that's just really weird because a lot of times they used to split people, and then for the past couple of years they would kind of put them together. But I'm like, okay, Naomi's married to Jimmy Uso, and their schedules are different. They split them, and why though? Like, why do they think that it's okay to team up Naomi with Lana? I just think that is such a missed opportunity. She is absolute money. She is just absolute, without a question, one of the most athletic. One of the just overall package. Love the charisma, love the promo, a merchandise magnet for the little girls. For some reason, they're missing out on all of this for the sake of teaming up with Lana, as if that.
And then you could look at the whole other side of it and how badly they effed up the Lana character.
Oh goodness, yeah, that's even worse.
Bro, I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know unless it's like, the entry level writers are taking care of those storylines. I mean, I don't know, but how you can connect Naomi to SmackDown, I don't get it, man.
Makes no sense. Her being a Raw is a total waste. It's an absolute total waste. And like you said, I agree. Her being a part of the Roman Reigns storyline will still bring that type of real feel to it. I still like what they're doing with Roman Reigns overall, but like I've said before, it just feels like a wrestling storyline again.
Yep.
Like unfortunately, Roman Reigns, what we saw with Kevin Owens, I think, and nothing against Kevin Owens, but when he gravitated to the Kevin Owens storyline, it just felt more like a wrestling gimmick again. And especially with Edge now, it feels like a wrestling gimmick again. Yep. And it's like you went from an authentic, like, oh my goodness, I can't stand this guy. This guy's such a jerk. Look what he's doing with his cousin. It went from that to even, Alpha and Sika, coming out and giving him a lay. Like that real feel to it. Now he just feels like another wrestling gimmick.
And bro, not only that, when you know a little bit about the Samoans, and bro, I only know a little bit because I worked around a lot of those guys. Bro, they're bad. Like they're bad. I mean, bro, I know, when I do my Raw SmackDown review, Ben Hameen talks a lot about just the Samoan mafia.
Yeah.
Bro, like there's so much there. Yes. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
There's just so much. Then you tie Heyman in, and it's like, why? Like, bro, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I was there, and all I could tell you was it wasn't like this back then, man. It was a lot simpler.
Yeah. And there's Fatu's wrestling on the independent scene right now. Jacob Fatu, one of the hottest people outside of WWE and MLW right now. And so, he's super athletic. He looks like just a monster. And I think Jacob Fatu, they could have brought him in. They had a Fatu just, as he was a part of some storyline. I forgot what it was, but he was just there like last year. And so, I mean, Rikishi has his own wrestling school.
And bro, and that's the thing about, like, listen, Rikishi, bro, this is a guy, Rikishi's older now. Mm-hmm. Bro, I'm not talking about wrestling. This is a cool dude. Rikishi will always be a cool dude. He's just a cool. How are you not? Yeah. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. What are you doing?
Rikishi could take a spear. You know what I mean? Like, he can come in and step in. Just imagine Rikishi being a part of the storyline. Yeah. They could have really stretched this out for a long time. They could have put Rikishi in there. They could have put Naomi in there. They could have really stretched this out. And if you want to just do the gimmick, as far as head of the table, save that for like a WrestleMania. Save that for a bigger spot, because right now I think we got the gimmick way too early, and the impact of WrestleMania isn't there because it turned from reality to gimmick way too early.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Next, we have Bobby Lashley and The Miz. Yeah, I mean, so this was part 1 of 3. This was delayed due to The Miz being sick, and so that was extended to 10 o'clock. So it went from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Now, again, I like the stretch element, but the way that they stretched it was way too cheesy for me.
Well, also, bro, let's look at the flip side of this, Chris. Okay,
if there's this point real quick, Tamina, they have Tamina as well.
Yeah, Tamina and Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Bro, let's look at the flip side of this. You're now telling the people the match is going to take place at 10 o'clock. Okay, bro, you're running the risk of them saying, okay, I'll come back at 10 o'clock.
That's right. Exactly.
Bro, you got to think about these things. You got to think. Yeah, and then they did it again.
Yeah.
They did it again. Yeah. And they did it again, bro, while Ali and his boys were in the ring. Like, I'm going to stick around for this. Right. Like, so, these are the things when again, I hate to beat a dead horse, But when I'm working with Ed, that's the discussion,
Yes.
bro. But we're also taking the risk of them leaving and coming back, and they may never come back. Maybe they get hooked on something else they're watching.
Yep, and they
Gotta
forget.
be very careful, bro. You gotta be very careful with
that's such a good point. And they forget they're like hooked on the show. And then by the time that happens, it's like 11:05, 11:10. They're like, oh, I got to catch it next time if I remember to catch it next time. Oh, I saw that Lashley won the title. Oh, I'll probably just watch it on YouTube or watch it on Twitter. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll just see a clip on Twitter.
That's another thing me and Jeff Lane were talking about today. Bro, they got these low ratings. Why are they driving people to YouTube? Bro, I could, bro, Walking Dead had its season premiere last night.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't watch that on YouTube today. Well, why are they driving people? You drive people to YouTube, they don't got to watch your show, bro.
Yeah. Because they're grasping for stats right now.
That's exactly it.
So what they'll do is, oh my goodness, the Lashley segment was the highest viewed YouTube segment in all of pro wrestling history. Like that is just a sales pitch. They'll look at that stuff and they'll be like, see, this is the reason why you should keep feeding us money and giving us contracts to Peacock and giving us renewing 5-year deals for USA. Look, this is what we do. We've got 53 million YouTube views, so they'll do all that just to sell, sales pitch.
Yep.
So it's grasping for stats, man. Next we get Braun Strowman cutting an in-ring promo, being interrupted by Shane McMahon and Adam Pearce. Oh man, I mean this leading to Strowman and a dressed up Adam Pearce against Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And for some reason, Braun Strowman has an affinity to attract very strange bedfellow partners. It was Adam Pearce. It was Nicholas a few years back. And somehow the Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon feud, WrestleMania feud, officially kicks off. Why? Because somehow Shane McMahon urges Braun Strowman, who got him in his finisher, who got Shelton Benjamin in his finisher, the Power Slam. Somehow Shane McMahon urges Braun Strowman to tag Adam Pearce. No rhyme or reason with that. Braun Strowman somehow finds it a good idea to tag Adam Pearce. No rhyme or reason with that. And then the team slips on the banana peel by Benjamin rolling over Adam Pearce. And somehow Braun Strowman getting upset with Shane and saying, Adam Pearce is a pawn. You're the one who's behind all that. So I'm going to just wreck everybody. This is how we literally just started a Braun versus Shane feud for WrestleMania. Again, Vince, 5 weeks before WrestleMania.
Bro, do you know what I'm seeing here? And I'm saying this based on knowing the company. Bro, I have no idea what the intelligence level is of Braun Strowman. I don't know Braun Strowman. I don't know if the dude's a smart guy. Maybe somebody can tell me. I don't know. But, bro, this is playing out like it's a rib on the guy because he may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer. I mean, that's what I'm feeling when I'm watching this, especially like his promo here. Like it's almost like they're ribbing the intelligence of this guy. And like I said, bro, I don't know Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman may be a rocket scientist for all I know. I'm just telling you the way it's coming across to me as a viewer. They're making him look like this big muscle head who literally doesn't have a brain in his head. Yep. I mean, that's what they're making this dude look like. And I'm like, okay, bro, is this an inside rib? Because I don't get it, bro. Like, I just don't get it, man.
Yeah, and it seems like they've, as much as they could have really made Braun Strowman an absolute monster star consistently, there's way too many start stops for Braun Strowman. Now, from people I've heard, from what I've heard, some people say Braun is difficult to work with sometimes as far as getting along with people. Sometimes he's, there's spots that he could have done better, when in the ring. And so, regardless of what it is, those things can be worked on. I mean, you hired him to be a part of the show and you haven't fired him yet. So train him, make him better. You know what I mean? So,
but I think it's past that, Chris, because Chris, we can go all the way back to when they put the dude in the elf suit. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, like, Chris, it's like it's beyond the point of they're going to try to fix this now. It's kind of like this is what we're doing with the guy. Yeah,
and it's like, why are you spending money to do that? Why are you spending airtime for this? You could be building a star, but you're wasting airtime by having Strowman look like a goof and start a feud. Like I think it's difficult to grasp that. Maybe we need to keep repeating that to really grasp that. We are going to see at WrestleMania Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon as if anybody cares about that match at all.
Yep.
I just don't see it. Yeah. Damian Priest defeating Elias. We see Elias come back with Jackson Ryker. Jackson Ryker now is he's just there. He's just a bona fide there guy. And again, you're wasting money. You're wasting talent. Jackson Ryker is just literally standing outside of Elias's matches looking chiseled. I mean, that's just what his.
And bro, let's talk about it. We talked about it with Naomi. We talked about it with Lana. We could talk about it with Elias. We can go up and down the list. Bro, this is a guy that we gave the name Gunner to an Impact because the guy was a legitimate gunner. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what that means. This dude was sitting on the back of a Jeep with the machine gun with the long row of bullets firing at people. Mm-hmm. That's what this guy did. And this is the character from what he did in his real life.
Yeah, military.
You get this? We get this? How does that happen?
Yeah. I don't understand it. You have a legitimate military veteran on your hands that looks like $1 million. Like he has muscles on top of muscles. He has muscles where you didn't even think muscles could be. And he's literally just standing outside of Elias matches, looking at his person who he's supporting, I guess a manager or enforcer, lose every match.
And Chris, the fact, because I worked with him, the fact that he's military, bro, this is Mr. Yes, sir. No, sir. Whatever you need, sir. Mm-hmm. That's who he is. Mm-hmm. And it's like, guys, come on, man. Wow. Like, really, bro? Come on, man.
Wow. Again, wasted talent. Randy Orton cutting a backstage promo. I just can't. Vince, I can't do it with these promos. I just can't do it, man.
I just can't understand how, like, the Fiend totally has vanished. Yeah. And now we've got Alexa Bliss down to 30 seconds a show.
Yes. And now we have a doppelganger. We have a Randy Orton devil going on now that's somehow talking to him with black eyes and red face and laughing, and somehow that's caused him to cough again. I just
hey, that was a very eloquent way of putting it, Dr. Chris. Very nice.
Thank you. I looked at this, man, and I said, oh man, like what are we doing? I have no interest in Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt in any capacity again at WrestleMania. We just saw this a few years ago. We saw Orton versus Bray, and now we're going to get Orton versus a reincarnation of the Fiend, as if the first one worked, and just a Fiend, I guess, with a different mask and charred up, and somehow we're supposed to buy into this.
If they even do that, they may forget. By the time we see Fiend again, they may forget that he was set on fire.
Yeah.
And he may just come out as the Fiend, bro.
The same
Who
Fiend.
knows, man? You know,
everybody's waiting. Everybody's just at the arena, like, oh, I wonder what the new Fiend's going to be. He comes out and it's the exact same.
They forgot,
Fiend.
bro. There's so much confusion that we haven't seen him in so long.
Yeah, that's the gotcha moment. Like, we didn't change him. It's the same person. Yeah, I mean, like, what's the buy-in with this, Vince? I mean, he burned him up, and we're going to see heel versus heel. Who's over here? Who's going to be cheered? We're seeing all types of pentagons and casting spells with Alexa Bliss as if we're supposed to buy into that. And then the Fiend comes back, and he's probably going to be casting spells too. Where did we go from here?
I don't know, bro. I have no idea. I don't know. I swear, bro. Honestly, I don't know from the inception. I don't know how you take a guy like Bray Wyatt with all the talent this guy has, and you fail this guy so many times. Bro, outside of doing it by design, how is that like even possible? Like how can you screw this guy up with so much talent, so many times? Yeah. How is that possible?
And he has such an amazing mind behind, like, he invests in his stuff. Like, as a character, he's the perfect choice for anything related to a Fiend idea. Whatever idea someone in creative had, Bray Wyatt is the best person to deal with it because he knows the ebbs and flows. He knows how to work the character from an acting standpoint. He spent time to really invest in his character. He looks the part. He does all of those things to make him look like a very eccentric character. And you waste it away.
Well, Chris, that might be the answer right there, because what you just said was he comes up with better creative than they do, and they don't like that. That does not work for them. They don't like that, bro.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I can absolutely see that. He comes up with more. He comes up with a better creative than creative, and then pettiness says,
"Yep.
Okay, well, we're gonna nix all those things and just have you get burned." So that's how we're gonna do it. Bobby Lashley defeating The Miz by count out. The Miz runs away.
This I got to talk about because this is my biggest pet peeve. Chris, listen, there are some fundamentals and basics of wrestling that will work forever. But there are other things that need to be changed. Bro, it should have been changed 20 years ago. It should have been changed prior to the Attitude Era. It should have been changed during the Attitude Era. Bro, do you know how stupid it is? The fact that you can defend your title by being counted out or disqualified. Do you know how stupid that is? Do you know how ridiculous that is? Because if you're a real bona fide heel, you would do that every single time. And bro, they're telling you in this show, this is how stupid it is.
Yeah.
Because bro, all I got to do is take my belt and run in the back, and I say they're telling you how stupid this is.
Yeah.
They make the change this one night, but next week it'll be back to count that. Change it, bro. You know why they don't change it, Chris? I'll tell you why they don't change it. Because creatively, then they don't know what to do. Yeah. Because now you're taking away the heel losing by count out or disqualification and still keeping the belt. You're taking those away from them. Oh my God, what are we gonna do now? But the fact that in your own show you're saying, bro, this is so outdated and so ridiculous. But yet, it's going to be back next week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then Miz can, because logically, Miz can run away and then, okay, well, Lashley won, so he gets a rematch. Okay, well, I'll run away again. Well, he won. He gets a rematch. Okay, well, I'll run away again.
I'll kick him square in the you know what?
Yep.
That'll get me DQ'd.
Absolutely.
You know, I'll throw salt in his eyes for crying out loud. I mean, it's ridiculous, bro, that they're still doing that. It's ridiculous, man.
100%. 100%. Oh, by the way, speaking of Attitude Era, I chatted with Headbanger Thrasher just messaged me. So, do you ever talk to him?
Oh yeah, they're great guys. I love those guys.
Yeah, Thrasher. Yeah,
great guys, man.
He works late night on Tuesdays. He's interested in coming on my Tuesday show.
Oh yeah, bring him on. Great dude, bro.
Yeah,
great.
he works late night shifts though. So you
got to make sure he doesn't interfere with that workout.
Yeah. Oh no, nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. Next we get Charlotte Flair cutting the in-ring promo. And so somehow, as expected, we get Charlotte wanting to challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And which I knew that this was going to lead to Charlotte versus Asuka. And when I heard that promo, and I'm like, oh, not another year where Charlotte just ruins Asuka. Like Charlotte in New Orleans at WrestleMania 34 broke Asuka's streak at WrestleMania. SmackDown prior to WrestleMania the next year, she beats Asuka to win the SmackDown Championship to be a part of the main event. And so year after year, she's continuing to take away Asuka's shine. And when this happened, I said, oh man, I got it. I got a feeling. And I just, Charlotte, she's definitely going to go down as one of the greatest ever. No doubt. But at the same time, I just don't want to see Charlotte in the WrestleMania women's match this year or in any title capacity. Last year was Rhea Ripley. She wins the NXT championship. I want Charlotte to put someone over this year. Hopefully it's Asuka.
Yeah, Chris, you know what I think everything boils down to, like including what you just said, that here's what I think everything boils down to. Bro, they're not making us care about anybody.
Not at all.
We don't care about like anybody. If Charlotte wins, okay. If Asuka wins, like we don't like even the way they built this main event. We don't care about Miz. We haven't cared about Miz forever.
Yeah, especially when he's running away with his title.
Yeah, bro. It's like that. If we don't care about, if there's no emotional ties, if we miss it, we miss it.
Yeah, I agree. So Charlotte Flair defeats Shayna Baszler. Yeah. Riddle and the Lucha House Party beats Retribution. So here, I'm sure this is your favorite segment of the night, Vince, since Ali is your boy. And so they're just continuing to. So they stretch this segment clearly. First of all, you had the countdown going between Lashley and The Miz.
Oh, yeah, and I'm definitely going to see what's on it. Okay, great. How much time do I have? Great.
It was, I say, 9 minutes? Okay, yeah. I'll be back.
I mean, bro, how could you do that? Like, how, like, seriously, like, come on, man.
Yeah, so they made people give it even better reason to turn the channel when they had Riddle and the Lucha House Party beat Retribution, and then stretching the segment by saying, oh, I can beat you. And then somehow Retribution helping Ali, and they said, okay, you should follow my lead because y'all helped me though, but y'all should follow my lead. But if it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't have won this match. So the whole Retribution thing is a wash to me. But the problem with this is, it makes it even worse, is that this seems like they're going to do Ali versus Riddle for the United States Championship. How the mighty have fallen when it comes to the current WWE Champion, Bobby Lashley, who just a couple of weeks ago was United States Champ. Now it's come all the way down to a feud between Riddle and Ali, who the U.S. Champ 2 weeks ago would absolutely destroy both of them together.
Bro, you know what was the worst thing on this show too? And you talk about Chris, like the most fundamental, like a 5-year-old would know this. So, bro, Riddle gets screwed. Okay. Mm-hmm. In the very next segment, we've got Lashley and Miz.
Yep.
They bring out the Lumberjacks.
Yep.
They bring out Retribution. Riddle is ringside.
Yep.
And Riddle is cheering for Lashley after just having gotten screwed by Retribution.
Yep.
Like, are you... Bro, there's no excuse for that. I don't care if you're Vince McMahon. I don't care who you are. Are you literally paying such little attention? And bro, not for anything, bro, there are levels of this. First of all, whoever's writing this, number one. Second of all, there's the agent. And then now, bro, the third fail-safe is Riddle. Riddle's got to say, wait a minute, bro, Retribution's going to be out there. They just screwed me, and you want me to root for last? Okay. Well, okay. And you know what we're supposed to say, Chris? You know why?
Why?
Because he's high. He's high. He's high, bro. He doesn't realize he just
forgot.
Yeah, he forgot. He's Spicoli. It's Spicoli out there, bro. Like, Chris, bro, there's no excuse for stuff like this. There's no excuse for it, bro.
And it just goes to show how hard the buy-in is. If we're supposed to buy into Riddle wanting to get some type of retribution against Retribution, or Lashley, who's been ragdolling him for weeks, but for some reason, Retribution's out there and nothing happens. And Lashley's out there, someone who's just been ragdolling him, just swinging him around every week, who he got the U.S. title from. He's cheering for him now.
And let me go one step further, Chris. Let me go one step further, because I'm telling you, bro, this is they think so traditional, but they never put themselves in the moment. Let me explain this to you again. The Elimination Chamber. Mm-hmm. Drew goes over. He's still the champion. Okay? Mm-hmm. Lashley attacked him before Miz came down, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So Lashley attacks him, Miz comes out. Okay, bro. McIntyre's in the opening segment. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we can't. I guess McIntyre has forgotten what Lashley did to him,
right?
Because he sure as heck isn't looking for retribution,
right?
Now here's their thinking, Chris. So McIntyre is there. McIntyre, wins that first match against Sheamus. We do the gimmick at the end. Lashley goes over. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, bro, it would make all the sense in the world if this were a shoot. McIntyre would hit the ring and return the favor.
Yeah.
That's what he would do. If that's what the character Drew McIntyre would do. He would not be watching Lashley's victory in the back on a monitor. Mm-hmm. But, bro, here's what they're saying. We got to give Lashley his moment. Mm-hmm. You got to let Lashley go to the top rope and celebrate with that title. You got to give Lashley his moment. Okay, bro, what about Drew? Like, what about Drew? Because now I'm home and I'm saying, wait a minute, man. Lashley attacked Drew after the Elimination Chamber, cost him the title. Now we know we know McIntyre's in the back because he was on the show. Where is he?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And even if you want to give Lashley his moment, like, I think continuity, from a continuity standpoint, you could have Drew, wanting to, like, somehow get in a scuffle. There's some people who have to, hold him back with Lashley. At least you could have had some type of encounter from a backstage segment somewhere in the 3-hour show. Somehow Pierce and Shane say, okay, well, Drew, you got to be kicked out because we want to make sure that Bobby doesn't get something with that. But to have zero type of interaction,
Chris, worst case scenario. Lashley wins the celebration, the third row, Here comes McIntyre power walking down the ramp with that look on his face. We're out of time.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. But bro, do you know, remember last week, bro, I threw a fit because McIntyre wasn't even on the show. Mm-hmm. Bro, he was backstage.
Yeah.
Like, see, that's what I'm telling you, bro. They do this stuff on purpose, bro.
And they had backstage segments involving Bobby Lashley, and for some reason, Drew's like, he ragdolled me a few weeks ago, made me, look like a wimp, but
bro, they can't
have his moment.
Chris, they can't be that incompetent. They can't be. They can't. I know they're smarter than that. But bro, like I said, that's where the talent has to step up.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Well, we got a new champ. Vince said that we may get we may get it past the 5 weeks mark, but I'm pretty adamant to say that Bobby Lashley will be champ for 5 weeks. And as of now, I don't see Vince McMahon getting off of what he typically does a lot of times, but I don't see him going away from the fact that they want Drew to have his moment in front of fans. And so they're making Lashley look like a monster, all to set up for Drew to have that underdog pop, which we talked about before. Makes no sense if they're having Drew have an underdog chase. I don't mind. I'm always for the babyface chasing on the road to WrestleMania, but you don't have to make Drew look like an underdog.
Bro, I'm just telling you, bro, if everything you are saying sounds correct, but then how can you not protect Drew on these shows?
I agree.
How can you that's the part that makes no sense. If this is the guy that's going to get it all back in front of the people, you're going to castrate him before you get there?
Right.
Like, why?
Because they don't know how to book baby faces, Vince. They don't know how to book faces. And this is the sad part about the booking, the creative staff, is that, like I said before, everybody feels 50-50. That's even a 50-50 move to not make Drew try to get some type of comeuppance to someone who caused him to lose the title. It wasn't even a Miz thing, the reason why he lost the title. It's because Bobby Lashley beat the brakes off of him.
And bro, you know what the easiest thing is to do all the time? I say this all the time. Put Austin in that spot. What happens? Exactly. That's how you have to look at it. Put Austin in that spot. Does Austin leave Lashley alone for the next 2 weeks? Think about that. Bro, I want to know, you say with the 50-50 booking, I'm looking forward to next week. Devil Randy Orton versus Black Ink Randy. Who they putting over in that match next week?
Alexa Bliss.
Too funny.
Even Devil Orton is going to get 50-50. Yep. Let them know about the brand.
Yeah, guys, 2 platforms, russosbrand.com. We just launched the show with the beautiful people, Velvet Sky and Angelina Love. Patreon, bro, you want to join up the first of the month, patreon.com/RussoTWC. I just launched a new show, Better Call Khan. And I gotta do a favor for my buddy Billy, bro. I do a show called Podcast on a Pole. It's the only show where I'll talk about my career. The only one. Check that out, podcastonapoll.com.
Nice. Well, it's been a pleasure once again. In honor of Bobby Lashley, your Vince McMahon is a little. It goes to show how delayed he is. He couldn't even do it on Black History Month. But Bobby Lashley,
that would have made sense, no, Chris?
It would have made it perfect.
You missed it by a day, bro.
Yeah, you missed it by a day, Vince. You missed it by a day. You couldn't just wait. You couldn't just do it last week. You were giving us a tease last week. You had an opportunity to have Bobby Lashley win his first WWE Championship and Black History Month.
That's a great point, bro. It is. That's a great point, man.
But you can't even give us that, Vince. Yeah. All right. Well, he's Vince Russo. I'm Dr. Chris Featherstone, and this is Legion of Raw. Have a good night, everybody.